Hello once again, Monster Hobbies Model Car Garage Mechanics. Are you ready for another great, exciting unboxing video? Well, we've got a great blast from the past coming up today as we take a look at JoHan's 1968 Plymouth Fury Police Pursuit Car. This is another great model kit from the past, from the golden age of JoHan model kits. And without further ado, let's go down to the bench and see what's in the box. One Adam 70, one Adam 70. We have a 1033 on Baker and Essex Street. Respond immediately, over. Adam 70 to dispatch, we're on our way, over. Wow, here we have JoHan's 1968 Plymouth Fury Police Pursuit Car in Detroit markings right on the box. And I really love this art. It's excellent. Here you have the two policemen, the Adams, in car number 70, racing down the streets of Detroit. You can see all the streak lines coming off the tires, ready for action, sirens blazing, lights flashing, everything going to plan, and they're out, ready to respond to the emergency. Man, this is such a great kit. Molded in 1/25th scale. Let's take a look at the side of the box and see what other cars are in this series. One thing I always enjoyed looking at on this side of the box is the amazing decal sheet and the options that you get for building 4 different police departments out of this. So it says the kit contains authentic decals and equipment for 4 US cities. Here you have New York, which is a white top with green going all the way up to the front fender. And then the front fender is painted in gloss black, and the hood is green as well. You might also build a Sheriff Road Patrol version, so you really get 5 options to choose from. You get Los Angeles down here with the black and the white doors and white roof, and Chicago, Chicago down here with gloss blue, the white doors, white top, and the white trunk lid. So lots to choose from, and really, which way would you build it? Got Detroit, New York, Chicago, Los Angeles, or your own sheriff version? Let me know in the comments down below. And on this side of the box, we get a call out for the authentically detailed police equipment. Here you get an antenna, communications antenna, electronic siren, roof rack, flasher lights, outside spotlights, protective screen inside, underhood siren, double end flashers. You get the push bar with frame attachment. If I just slide the box over a little bit here, package shelf warning lights. You get this wonderful police radio unit with a hand microphone, roof siren, dome flasher, portable spotlight, and cord reel. Again, really cool things. Now we'll take the lid off the model and see what's inside. All the goodness. So we've got a decal sheet, which we'll take a look at the end here. Our instructions, which we'll look at next. I've actually got 2 decal sheets. There's one hidden in the instructions here. So we'll take a look at both sheets. I don't know where the other one came from. This was, again, out of a collection, so I don't know if it was a special order or what. But anyway, we've got our glass parts tree, and ooh, that's really scraped up there. Have to use a lot of wax to get that back. We've also got our chrome parts tree, really neat looking stuff. Got our police body right there. 4-door, of course, molded in Chicago blue. I don't know. Alright, we got our dome light here, flasher units. This is the bubblegum style, right there. And then we've got the 2 blue ones. Got our interior. Pretty nice, simple tub version. And then our chassis pan. It's even got the springs in there, the torque springs. Nice old Chrysler stuff. We've got our front and back seat. And then we've got all our wheels and steering wheel. And the little police radio sitting there. A ton of Flash Gordon. I don't know. Got our hood and the front little insert panel for the bottom of the grill. And we've got the old JoHan tires, nice and stiff. A little hot water should bring them back to life with the wheels in. We got the nice cage there, and then the axle blocks and engine. And we got our tires, we got dashboard down there, firewall, and that's just a broken off piece of the parts tree. Oh no, there's a little red thing on there. But what I'll do is I'll clear all this out of the way and then we'll take a look at those instructions. Here we have the instructions for our police pursuit car from JoHan, and the one thing I like about this is that all our steps are on one sheet of paper, of course on the front and back, unlike the Revell instructions, which go on forever showing you, okay, step 1, glue the air cleaner to the carburetor. Step 2, glue the manifold onto the engine block. You know, then you got like this great big telephone book, and it's all glue this to there, glue that to there, glue this to, you know. Here, everything is on one page, so you can view through it quickly and start building your model. So first off, we'll start with our engine assembly. So here you got the right and left hand side of your engine block and the engine block halves. Another great thing is they tell you what the parts are. I really don't like instruction sheets when they don't tell you what the parts are. So here you got your oil pan and your front engine cover. And it also says to paint these dark blue, which would be the Chrysler blue of the time. There's your cylinder head, your exhaust headers. You've got your valve cover and an oil filler cap. And then here you've got your intake manifold, your coil, 4-barrel carburetor, your air cleaner, and paint that gloss black, same as your coil. Distributor cap, alternator, fan belt assembly, and the fan. The only thing that's missing is the alternator bracket, but with a little bit of plastic, it shouldn't be too hard to figure out. Now, in case you want to wire your engine, if you're one of these type of courageous human beings, here we've got the firing order. So you've got number 1, and that's going all the way over to here. Wire 2, which goes straight across to there. And then 3 coming down here. 4 going over here. 5, which is right here, going down here. And then 6 going all the way over to here. 7 down there. And then number 8 right at the front, going all the way over to here. And the firing order is 1, 8, 4, 3, 6, 5, 7, 2. And the cap is going this way around on the engine. And in case you're wondering, here is the Type 5 Chrysler transmission all pulled out in pieces. Of course, this is from a repair manual. It's Type 5 Chrysler 4-speed transmission. Note the drive pinion bearings oil slinger shown has been eliminated with the release of the new drive pinion, which do not use an oil slinger. The new drive pinions were incorporated into production on September 1st, 1964. Over here we have our chassis assembly, and there's our completed engine being glued into the chassis. We also have the front axle locators and the rear axle locators being glued in place. It says cement to chassis before painting. It says note, locate assembled engine into chassis by running front axle through locators and engine block. May be cemented in position if desired. So the engine block does have holes in it for the axle to go through. Here we've got our windshield washer jar and underhood siren, and that's in 3 pieces. So the siren cap, the actual motor for the siren, and the mounting bracket. And that shows it going right into our fender well there. Here we've got our tires. So it shows the front and rear. It's basically the tire assembly is all the same. Inner wheel half, tire, front and back, and then a hubcap. Now, remember the rear wheel will not have the little cap in the front. That's a grease cap. So one thing that says here, front wheels, see note below. So it says note, wheels should be painted as follows. Detroit, gloss black. New York, testers number 24, green. And here we got Chicago, testers 11, blue. Testers 11 blue. Los Angeles is gloss black. Notice it says number 24. The new numbers are 1124, and this would be 1111 blue. And I do have that blue for sale at Monster Hobbies on our paint rack. Over here we have our interior assembly. We've got our instrument panel and our steering wheel. It says to paint these tan. We have our police radio. Now this is a 5-piece radio. We've got right and left hand sides, the top, the microphone cord, and the radio microphone. Cement assembled radio control console under instrument panel with legs straddling transmission hump. So right there, go on the hump. Here we've got a portable spotlight, which is an option, and a spotlight cord reel. So the police could pull this out the side window and then hand hold the spotlight and shine it where they needed to shine it, instead of the, well, they still have those in this kit, the ones that are mounted on the window pillars. Down here, interior paint tan, paint bottom of interior flat black, open holes in package shelf for warning lights if you want to use them. They're optional. All these police components here are actually optional because it would go with how you wanted to do your police car, of course, depending on which, state had which, sort of options. Okay, here we've got our front seat with the seat back, and you've got seat belts as well as shoulder harnesses. So you got the actual 4-point seat belt in there. And then we've got our rear seat in the back. Now, this is a cool part of the instruction sheet. It says local police department or sheriff road patrol versions. With the combination of equipment which we have included in this kit, it will be possible for you to reproduce a model police car of your own local police department. Paint to match the actual colors of your own city or town's police cars. If you wish to make your own decals, simply use Scotch or Mystic colored tape. These tapes come in a wide variety of colors and widths. Stretch it out on a flat cutting surface. Trace the design on it with a soft pencil and cut out with a sharp X-Acto knife. If you do not wish to make any of the police cars, we have also included decals to make a sheriff road patrol version. You may use any combination of equipment you choose. However, sheriff patrol cars usually use the long communications antenna because it has a greater radio range, and the cars usually have to patrol an entire county rather than just a certain area of a city. So again, really some real cool insights into police cars down here. You could also completely eliminate all the police stuff on this and build it as a 4-door family Fury if you wanted. Now we get into the front body assembly here, and we have our body. It says see note number 1 below. Okay, note number 1. Refer to painting tips for the version you are building on the other side of this sheet. Open holes in body for required equipment before painting. To help you achieve a better paint job on the body and hood, we suggest that you first wash them in warm water and mild soap. Rinse and dry them thoroughly with a lint-free cloth. Carefully blow off any dust or lint that may settle on them before painting. Good tips. Okay, so we got our mirrors, our spotlights. These are all optional. Spotlight bracket. Notes, meant assembled spotlights to windshield pillar posts. There's the hood, position on body check for free opening and closing. Grille filler panel. See note 2 below. Okay, we'll take a look at that in a minute. There's the grille. There's the battery. Our quad headlights here. They're actually clear. They're not, molded in place. Firewall, see note number 2. Again, radiator. Paint gloss black to inside of radiator wall. Here's the windshield, the rear view mirror going in place, and then we've got side windows. So what's this? Oh, there's a protective screen as well. To slots in body. They're right on the posts there, as we'll see. Note number 2. Paint firewall and grille filler panel as follows. Firewall. Interesting. Detroit, gloss white. New York, gloss black. Los Angeles, gloss black. Chicago, Testers 11 blue. If you are building a version other than one of these 4, paint to match the color of the body in the area forward of the front doors. Right, because that's how Chryslers were. This would be part of the body inside, and then it would all have been painted the one color. So, yeah, your firewall and that little panel would be different per city. Now we turn the instructions over and we get into our rear body assembly. So communications antenna may be positioned on either right or left side of the rear deck near back window. For Detroit, you got this little antenna, and there's one up there. Then we've got our 2-piece taillights in the rear bumper. It says taillight frame into body from underneath. Note, open hole in roof for radio antenna, all cities. In addition, open hole in rear deck lid for second Detroit antenna. For Sheriff Patrol versions, omit these antennas and open hole in communication, an open hole for communications antenna. So that one right there. So now we'll begin our look at the 4 different state patrol cars. So we'll start off with Detroit. It says, note, siren parts may be painted flat black if desired. All right, so here we've got the dome light, a flasher lamp inside, and then the flasher base, and these all sandwiched together and glued down on the roof rack. We also have the siren bracket, which goes on this pin in the center, and then the electronic siren and loudspeaker will go together and go right on there. It says Detroit Tactical Mobile Unit cars are painted blue and white. Use testers number 8 blue, so 1108, and 1145 gloss white. See box cover for color scheme and decal placement. In addition, there is a wide blue band running across the top from the tip of the hood to the rear bumper with a 70 decal at the tip of the hood and the rear deck. So now we go over to New York, and here you can see that they don't use the same setup as Detroit. This one has the bubblegum dome, and it's got the flasher lights and the lamp holder. There's 4 flasher lamps, so you've got to scrape a little chrome out of the little dish part and glue the 4 on. Then you can drop the dome over the top. Actually, you would glue this to the base first, then drop the dome as last. And then here we have the siren. So siren motor cover, you got the backing here, the motor, and the siren. It says, note, open holes in roof mark NY. New York police cars are painted black, green, and white. Use testers 1147 gloss black, 1124 green, and 1145 gloss white. See box cover for color scheme and decal placement. In addition, the rear deck from the back window down between the taillights to the rear bumper is painted white. There are 2 decals on the panel between the taillights. Police on the left side and emergency dial 911 on the right side. I think New York was the first state to actually use 911. Let me know in the comments if I have that right. Now we get into Los Angeles, and again, different stuff on the roof. So here we have the flasher housing halves for 2 flashers. These are the tube type flashers, so left and right, and then the flashers on the both ends, and then we've got our siren going right in the middle. It says Los Angeles police cars are painted black and white. Use testers 1147 gloss black and 1145 gloss white. See box cover for color scheme and decal placement. Decals appear only on the front doors and 925 on the double-ended flashers. So 925 would be there. And of course there on the opposite side. And here we have Chicago. Chicago. All right. So we got the flasher dome on the top, flasher lamp, and then the base. So this is different from the New York one. This is actually using one of the blue flasher units from the... Actually, it's a whole flasher thing from the Detroit one. It's just a single one right in the center of the hood. And there's a locator pin that goes up through the bottom. Open hole in roof marks CH and insert locator pin. Chicago police cars are painted blue and white. Use testers 111 blue and 1111 blue and 1145 gloss white. See box cover for color scheme and decal placement. Decals appear only on the front doors and police on the right side of the rear deck panel between the taillights. Here we have our final assembly, and this is pretty basic actually. So you've got the assembled chassis, the assembled interior, which goes up into the body, and there's these lock rings which go over the rear posts to lock the interior in place. And then you have a push bar frame, which is optional, paint flat black and cement to chassis, and here's the optional push bars going up through that frame. Paint gloss black, paint padded area flat black. So flat black, gloss black. and that would be glued here. And it does not show the body being dropped in, but that is the final bit of it, body with the glass. Here's the body for our wonderful Plymouth, and you can see that it's molded in this blue color, which would be quite interesting if you wanted to paint it white. Now, that's not too much problem. It does have this wonderful Fury 1 script molded right into the door, which looks really excellent. It's also got little tiny circular lights right there, front and back, side marker lights. Got these great 4 doors with the wonderful door handles in here. We've got vents along the cowl as well as molded on windshield wipers. We've got this great radiator support up front here. And a couple of holes in there as well. Quite a bit of flash on this, but you know, nothing you can't recover from. I love the formal roof on here. Very much like a Plymouth roof of the era. You've got Plymouth written in big letters right across the trunk lid, as well as a sunken in area for your headlamps. So let's turn this over, and you can see all the holes. So here you've got one that says all right underneath there. Let's see if you can catch that. And then this first big hole is New York, and then there's Chicago right there, and LA right up in here, here, and there. So it's great that they have these location holes underneath so you know where things are supposed to go. We've also got side mirror holes right there, and then spotlight holes up here. You can see the intricate bits of the hood, which all fit in these slots up there. This one slot here is actually for the firewall to locate into. And then we've got little grooves right there for the partition to go into place. Now you'll note great big mold marks in here, or at least one anyway, and that you can clear out with your number 16 hobby blade. You can also use a bit of sandpaper on a little block or on the end of a pencil on the eraser. There's also holes back in here for various antennas and whatnot. So again, some really cool stuff going on underneath there. But the flash, of course, you're going to have to try to work out. Here's our interior tub. Looking great, looking groovy. Actually, it's interesting because underneath the seat, there's all this detail in here. So you could build like a NASCAR or something out of this. Well, I don't know, 4-door NASCAR. But still, it's got like all the brackets for the back. It's kind of too bad that this gets covered up with the seat. There's panels down in there as well. So I wonder what other 65, Furies JoHan had. Door handle in there is molded nice, so are the side panels. No handle in the back, though. And again, that's, I guess, a safety feature for the police, so the criminal can't get out once they get in. And then you've got your floor pedals molded in place. You've even got a nice carpet mold in there. Now, I believe these might be the mold marks, the little circles there, but there's nothing on the carpet, so that's pretty nice. Turning it over, you can see a couple little like grinder marks in there, but nice and flat. Oh, there's holes back here for those lights that go on the package shelf. So again, some really nice stuff in here, even though it is quite simplistic. It'll get the job done. Here's the underpan with pretty much everything molded in place, except for the axle blocks. But you have your fuel tank back here. You can even see some circles where maybe at one time this was a screw mount. You've got these wonderful leaf springs in here, which are pretty huge actually. And you've got your exhaust pipes molded in place, as well as the front K-member up here, and the torsion-bar suspension. I don't know, did I call it torque tube or something before? But it's torsion bars wound up, and there's the locks back there. So this doesn't have coil springs. These are spring in a tube that's wrapped like this. So when the wheel bounces, it kind of flexes, tightens up as the wheels bounce up and down, and then releases as it goes across. Volkswagen Beetles have them as well, just in a different arrangement. But again, that was the suspension of these cars. Now there's some pretty high, actually, is that just flash? Well, it's got to be sanded out right there and there, because you can see they're sticking up quite a bit, and that's going to interfere with the fit of your interior. But overall, pretty nice. Pretty typical of JoHan engineering, that they make the undercarriages very simple, but the fronts are where it's all happening. Now, in case you're wondering about the fit and finish of the last three parts, they actually go together really well. You can see how tight the interior is up inside there along the door line. So right back in here, it fits very flush. The upper deck comes up in behind the window and sits nice and flush across here. So there's nothing sagging inside, you know, visually. The underpan fits in nice. It would be tight if you squeeze the body sides in a little bit and apply some glue. Overall, this thing fits really nice for such an old kit. Here we have our engine block, which I believe is a Chrysler 383, which would be typical for these police cars of that era, and it's mounted to a Type 5 Chrysler manual transmission. Here we've got our right and left hand side engine blocks, our cylinder heads, we've got the intake manifold, the windshield washer bottle, the pulleys and belts, the front timing chain cover and water pump. We also have our oil pan right here. We've got our distributor, right and left hand side exhausts, and they have these great pipes on them. Of course, manifolds, exhaust manifolds. And we've got our seat belts here, right and left hand side with the shoulder harnesses, the front axles, and we also have that screen that's in here. And this little piece, what was that guy? Oh, the underhood mounting bracket for the siren. Let's take a look at the detail on there. Some really nice work. I think it's got the casting numbers right in there as well. And we've got our starter motor. Got a little out of focus here. Okay, there we go. Yeah, there's the numbers. And then the starter motor, as well as the transmission back there. You can see it's a manual one because it's got all the little pulleys off the side. Some nice detail here. Front timing chain cover looks correct. It's even got the fuel pump off the side. And yeah, good work. You can see actual texture on the seat belts as if they were really cloth. Mold marks back here. This will have to all be sanded flat. But again, not bad, you know, considering the vintage of the kit. Our next parts tree includes a few more engine parts, like the valve covers, as well as some police parts, like the sirens. There you got that wonderful air cleaner. Got your radiator right there. You've also got your fan, your battery, which is really nicely detailed. There's the wheels. So remember, the back ones have the little hole in the center, and the front ones have the cap. And that is, of course, for your front kingpin. We've got the reel for the megaphone, the external one. Oh, no, sorry, the spotlight. Here's the police radio in all its components. We've also got the steering wheel with the horn ring on there, so there's where your Molotow chrome pen would go. And we've got the push bar up in front, as well as our wheel backs. So let's take a look at this. Those wheels are really nice. Look at how well they're detailed. Now remember, when you're tightening your bolts, it's left-hand thread on the left-hand side of the car and right-hand thread on the right-hand side of the car, because that was an old Chrysler theory that as you went down the road, all the nuts would tighten, and turned out that that doesn't really work the way they thought it was. So now all the modern cars are all right-hand, righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, you know. There's our police radio, the top of it. And then you've got the sides. So this is the back with mold marks. But there, that's the speaker. And then this side would have, I believe, the radio, you know, CB coming out the side of it. There you've got the radiator, looking nice. I love the air cleaner. Love these utilitarian style air cleaners. This could also be a hubcap, you know. Anyway, yeah, some really cool stuff going on there. Look at the detail on the battery. Again, really nice, really crisp, really tight. Awesome work from JoHan. So here we have all of the remaining parts trees for the blue plastic, and I thought I would just put them all in one shot. So we've got the rear bench seat and the front bench seat with the seat back. We also have the hood. We've got the front grille insert. We've also got these plastic axles, and I'd recommend replacing these with, I believe it's 1/8 wire on these. It's not 1/16 like AMT. And then we've got our firewall here with a windshield washer motor, as well as our brake master cylinder and the little brake pot up here. This is a single one, so all the front and back are going off of one cylinder in there. And then we've got our dashboard. So let's bring these up to the camera. Let's start with our dashboard. So there you can see all the all the gauges are in there, as well as a radio. So again, if you wanted to build this as your family sedan, you could by all means do that. Just see, there we go, a little better focus. Yeah, you got your speedometer in there and the glove box door. So again, looks really nice, really clean and crisp. There is a little bit of a defroster or maybe a speaker up there. So again, really cool stuff. You got the Fury emblem there in Plymouth on this side. Up underneath, you've got the mat as well as the braces. There are mold marks under here, which we'll have to get rid of, but overall looks pretty good. Now how about our seats? There's our seats. Seat pattern is very basic, this being a low-end car, but made for speed with the police package. It's just very basic. You could use some I think it's Skill Autosport or Skill whatever, but you could use the decals that they have for upholstery. That would make that look nice in there. Seat back would just go across here. Nothing too complicated, but will look good with the right type of upholstery. There's that dashboard. We've got some wires molded into it. Sorry, firewall. Got some wires molded into it and the wiper and that sort of thing. Again, very simplistic, easy to build, nice to put together, will look good in your model. Next up we have our glorious chrome parts tree, and there's our front bumper as well as rear bumper. Here we've got the siren. We also have our little dog dish hubcaps along there, spotlights and other goodies, police goodies, tail light surrounds. We've got our rear view mirror in here, as well as the flashing units and sirens and that long antenna. You actually get two different sirens here, one for under the hood. Again, some really nice detail. Look at all the antennas. The alternator looks really good right there. Some really nice sharp detail. Turning it over. Not too bad on the mold marks on the chrome. It's got Ply written in the bumper on the behind the license plate. But yeah, quite a neat little kit. Now we've got our clear components for our police car, and you can see there's a lot of lights. Some of these are headlights, others are spotlights and whatnot. We've got our glass molded in the old style with the holes in the back to lock it all in place, and the rails up along the top to keep the front windshield and back windshield in place as well. We've got these really thin side windows, which are nice. And we've got our red components with the bubblegum dome here and the front signal lights, as well as our rear tail lamps. And then we've got the blue police car lights and flashers as well. So not much to show except for a big scratch along here. Would be nice if it was in a bag or paper, but that's what we got. Very flat. It's got the headlights with the correct grille mesh on there. Remember, north, south, east, west for getting that aligned and not off at some angle. And there we've got our tail lights and the bubblegum lantern. Again, really cool. These ones actually have the spiral in them. And then here we've got our blue flashers. So again, once it's all together, once you figure out which police department you want, you'll have some spare bits to add to other police cars in your collection or make up your own. Here's our tires for our police car, and we only really get an option of this. which is the stock tires. Now these ones are nondescript. They don't say Firestone or Goodyear or Atlas or any of that stuff. And the tread just wraps around. They're very plain. They are a bit stiff. There's a little bit of flex to them, so they're not completely gone. A little bit of warm water will help these seat into the front and rear of the wheels. The wheel fronts and wheel backs, I should say. Bit of flash on them, so you could spin these down with your spinning tool. But overall, I mean, basic, plain Jane, police-style tires. Here we have the decal sheet for our 1968 Plymouth Fury police pursuit car. And you can see the 4 different police departments as shown on the side of the box. And you also get this bonus County Sheriff for Road 54 Patrol. And that is a bonus decal set just for you. And there wasn't really any specific colors for this for a squad car. So I believe it's up to your own imagination for that one. But what we have up here is we've got the City of New York Police Force. And remember in the instructions when it was saying to paint the car with Testors 24 green? Well, right here I've got Testors 1124, which is the more recent number for this paint. And you can see that the green does match the green of the original decal sheet. I think my shadow's in the way. It looks darker, but it does match if you really have the paint. So what we have here is 1965. Now this is not the year or a license plate. This is actually the car number. 18th Precinct, Emergency 911. And I believe New York was the first police department to actually adopt and use the 911 number, which of course now is standard all throughout the world, I believe, or at least in Canada and the US. Here we have police markings. And if we go down here, we've got the Detroit Tactical Mobile Unit. And we also have To Serve and Protect right here. Car number 70. Here we have Chicago. And you can see that the yellow, it's actually supposed to be a shield. And it just doesn't really translate well in the old JoHan decal sheet. This would be car 8397. We serve and protect in Chicago. Over here we have Los Angeles, City of Los Angeles, To Serve and Protect. Now here it's 81925, but the car number is 925. So I'm not too sure what the 81 is, maybe the precinct or something. But at any rate, these are the ones for the City of Los Angeles. And then, of course, down here we've got the County Sheriff in red, white, and blue. And these would go on the doors, and the Sheriff would be along the trunk edge. So again, some really cool decals on here. But let's take a look at the more recent ones that have come out for this kit. Here we have the updated decal sheet for the JoHan 1968 Plymouth Fury police pursuit car. And you can see quite a bit of a color difference as compared to the originals. So the green here is a lot darker, which would coincide with an earlier Testors green paint. And if you're lucky enough to have this in your old paint box or inherit some, this is the actual darker green. They don't make it anymore. This is 1123, or it would have been number 23 back in the day. And here's number 24, and you can see the difference, especially when I turn it up like this. Oh, I should have done that in the first place. You see how the 1124 matches the green now? Whereas over here, it would be that darker green that they don't make anymore. But have no fear, because this color, this same green, you can get it in a spray can from Tremclad up here in Canada, and it's an exact match of this old Testors paint they don't make anymore. Now I'm lucky enough to have one of these in my collection, but it's the last one. However, you can get a, again, through Tremclad, you can get a paint, what do you call it? I guess it would be like a 1 quart in the States or whatever. You know, the small tin can. But it's got that color in it, and it's brushable. So we don't really need Testors 1123 anymore because we've got some other alternatives, but it's the same dark green. Anyway, carrying on, I love this more updated JoHan emblem. This is from 2002, so this would have been pretty much the last decal sheets JoHan had. So in this case, it's still the 18th precinct. This is now car number 2. And we've got different letters here, MCY, police, this would be precinct, I believe. And then we've got 2865, there's 4 of those, in 1865, instead of like before it was 1965, and that was your only number set. So now you've got some options in here. And then if you look, we've got an extra Texas Department Public Safety right here. So you could make your police car like that. That replaces the county sheriff decal. We still have our Detroit ones, which are right down here, Tactical Mobile Unit. Car number 70, Detroit Police. So with Chicago, you can see that the emblem here is now in blue. And what you would do is you would put the yellow dot down on your car first, and then once that dries on your model, you slide over the Chicago Police one on top, so it ends up like that. And then you would be able to see what this is supposed to be in the middle. It would be all highlighted like that. It's still got to serve and protect. You still have 8397, but you also now get car 5190. You get some really cool gauges on here for different things. There is our Los Angeles, and you can see this is a lot better. It's like gold instead of yellow. The emblem is a lot nicer on here. It's still car number 925, but this has got a 12. You got a 95 there, and 81925 as well. So we got different license plates. We got California here. We have Illinois, Michigan, a different California, and then another Michigan. And then here we've got our instrument cluster. We've got the decal for the battery. We've got a Fury 1 marker. We've got the little marker lights and side marker lights. We've got the Plymouth emblem for the steering wheel. We have Plymouth in both silver and black for along the back trunk lid. We also have Plymouth scripts down here. A really cool decal sheet. Oh, we've even got Texas license plates, and these are silver. They say exempt on them. So that would be, because there's special police license plates. Again, some really cool stuff on here, and quite a bit of an upgrade from the originals. The originals don't even have the license plates. Oh, that's because the plate, it's molded in there and it says police. But overall, I like the new ones, but I also like the charm of the old ones, mainly because I had these in my decal box for a long time, but my decal box went underwater in the 2013 High River flood. So getting this new model kit, or I guess it's an old model kit, but getting it back in my collection from the collection I bought off the other guy, and getting brand new decals as well, really makes it nice for me. Here's my 1968 Plymouth Fury Police Pursuit car, and I was trying to do this as an RCMP car for the Canadian Royal Mounted Police. I wanted that originally, but there's no decals out there for that. So it's just pretty generic right now. You can see those great lights in the back, the screen mesh as it rolls around, as well as the bubblegum light and the siren. Now, I built this a long time ago, back in the 90s, and it seems to have held up over time. You can see that I used bare metal foil up around the window trim. The only sort of downfall on this is it's been sitting around for so long, and I did dust it, but the dust stuck in the paint, so I waxed it, and the back and the roof came up not too badly, but somehow the hood sort of got torched. The wax stuck in it, so I'll have to clean this up a bit later when I can, but for now, this is what I got. Under the hood, I've got the little 383 motor, and you'll notice a lot of light blue color in there, like on the top of the battery, and the washer bottle, and the distributor, and the coil, or the carburetor even. That's the actual original plastic And for whatever reason back in the day, I used to like showing some of that original plastic, but now I don't know if I would actually do it like that. I do like the air cleaner with the little grooves in there. Looks just like the real thing, only smaller. Inside I've got a nice two-tone blue interior with a light blue on the seats as cloth and dark blue on the edges as well as the dashboard. Here's another shot from a different angle, and another thing that happened here is the side window on this side popped out, and there it is down in there. So not too happy about that. Not sure how I'm going to get the car apart to get that window glued back in. Not sure if it's actually a smart idea to do so. There you can see the red signal lights in the back on the package shelf. Again, very nicely done. See how tight the windshield goes up against the package shelf in the back? Just like I was saying before, this model kit does go together with a nice fit and finish and will look wonderful on your shelf. The white around the trunk lid is actually wax. I'm going to have to try to dig that out later, but for now it is what it is. Here's a shot of the underneath of the car, and you can see the red engine and transmission. I'm not sure if that's correct. You know, back in the day we didn't have as much research material. We had to kind of rely on magazines and whatnot, and sometimes they didn't have the full picture. It's not like now where you could, you know, do a Google search for this car, type in for sale, and then get 1,000 pictures of this all up on the hoist from every square inch. It's not like that back in the day. So I did the best I could with what I had, and this is the result. I don't think it's too bad. It's pretty cool, actually. Well, I really hope you enjoyed this video where we got to see JoHan's 1968 Plymouth Fury Police Patrol car. And if you really loved this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel so that every time I make a new video, you're the first one to see it. And while you're out there in internet land, check out our Facebook group, Monster Hobbies Online Retail Outlet. It's a really cool Facebook page where you get to see what's new with Monster Hobbies, and if there's any great things coming up, you get to be the first one to know about it if you go over there and join us in the Facebook chats. So until next time, everybody, thank you very much for watching this great video. Happy model building, and we'll see you in the next video. Next week on the Monster Hobbies Model Car Garage, we'll be taking a look at the JoHan Fire Rescue Ambulance from the Detroit Fire Department.